Welcome to the Warren Cycling Podcast. My name is Dean Warren. I'm in Sarasota, Florida today.
And I'm Randy Warren, and I'm in Asheville, North Carolina. For once. I mean, usually I'm always here, but you're back here now. So
right, we're in our respective hometowns where we live. I'll soon be traveling again, of course, because I travel all the time for my work. But I'll be gone to Germany, going to Germany a couple of times, and vacation. And if it all comes out the way I plan or would like to, I should make it back to get to Paris for the last day of the tour. So
that'll be the first day back to vacation. You won't have seen any of the race at that point. It'll be all new to you.
I should see the first 3 stages before we leave on our vacation trip, and then who knows? But last time I was traveling and a race was going on, I found time to catch up with what was going on in the race. So it'll be hard not to. But I could just wait till next year for when Netflix comes out again, right? Are you doing another one this year? Oh no! Oh no! Oh, that plan's ruined. I thought I could just watch it next year.
Yeah, they said they might do it again in the future. They wasn't ruling it out. Because the guy I heard talk about it said that he wasn't involved in the planning. He was mostly editing. But he also said that if you wanted to just watch the highlights, you should watch a highlight film. This wasn't highlights. Yeah. And I watched the first episode last night, and I thought it was good, but I kind of like watching the racing better. The racing itself.
A lot of podcasts have been doing reviews on the Netflix series. Yeah. And even like our YouTube channels too. Chris Horner reviewed. I watched his review of the first 2 episodes, which took us through stage 6 or 7, and he likes strategies and stuff, and the questions that should be coming up, and like the controversy of Wout van Aert, what he was not racing a little bit more for himself, like on the stage where he had gapped, I think it was it Adam Yates and Vingegaard, but they're really close, and they had a gap on others. So if he would have slowed up a little, he could have helped Vingegaard. They could have gone to the line, and Vingegaard could have gained time probably on Tadej Pogačar early in the race. But instead, he just powered away and went solo, because it was like second for the first couple of stages, really trying to get that stage win. But they didn't. I guess they didn't. I don't know if that was in the first episode. What stages were in the first episode?
Just 1 and 2. That's it.
Okay, 1 and 2. Yeah.
That's all I've seen so far. Is just the first episode. So.
Yeah,
it was good.
I don't think you watch it maybe for, like you said, a recap of how the race went. It's looking at the drama, the personal side, right? The more
stories. They're trying to create drama that relates to the everyday person. But I think for a race fan, they might find the drama in the race itself rather than. It is good though to see personalities. You see people interviewed and personalities, and that was the insight that I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, I think almost any sport, if you find a personality, both ways, that you really like, someone that you can connect with, or someone that just touches you in a way of how they act and perform, you might be more of a fan of that person, or the opposite, someone that maybe you don't like, you become more of a villain, and you can see then, I want them to beat that guy, or I want this guy to win because I like who he is as a person. So I guess that's something too to think about.
Yeah, for me it was just getting a little more insights in who, like how Julian Alaphilippe talks when he's off the bike more, not at the end of an race in an interview, but just having him chat about something. Or Wout van Aert, they did him quite a bit too. I guess Wout van Aert apparently criticized the series, saying they were trying to make it too dramatic or something like that. But that's their job. And the thing was too, is he said that Formula One got a big bump 5 years ago when the same gentleman did the Formula One series, and they thought part of that was because of this series he did on Formula One. And so and he was saying, because he's done one on Madonna and not Diego, not. So this Netflix series Unchained is supposed to hopefully bring in some of the non-cycling fans to cycling, and they even said there's a belief of cyclists that if only our sport is exposed to more people, then they'd love it. Maybe not with the same passion that we have, but they certainly enjoy it because it has this intrinsic appeal that people just don't know yet because they haven't been exposed to it. So hopefully the series will grab some of that audience, and it's great timing though, because it's right before the Tour de France.
Sure.
And then also too, I'm gonna go see that tomorrow night, The Last Rider, which is a 90-minute documentary about the '89 Tour de France when Le Mans just nips Laurent Fignon. And so that's only in theaters right now. Maybe eventually it'll go to some streaming service, and I'm sure it'll have to.
So, what's the title again?
The Last Rider.
The Last Rider. So if you
Yeah.
Google that, maybe you could find where it could be playing in your area.
Oh, for sure.
The
Yep.
Last
Yeah,
Rider.
for sure. Yeah, it came up right easily on my Google search. I did the same thing because people were talking about watching it in San Luis Obispo, and so it was playing at the Palm there, which is like an artsy kind of theater. And so I thought, well, where's it playing here? Is it? And it's playing at a major theater, like the Regal theaters that we don't normally go to because it's a little further away, but definitely, like a 15-minute drive, not very far away at all. So Carrie and another friend Kevin and I are at least going to go see it, and we invited a few others too. I was actually thinking about posting it just on a rider group because you want to support these movies. I looked, we didn't buy tickets yet because I wasn't sure who all was going, but there was no tickets sold so far. And these days, a lot of tickets are sold in advance. Like I just bought tickets for Matthew, Carrie, and I to go see Indiana Jones on Sunday. So, although we were some of the first ones in that performance as well too, that showing rather. But I booked it in the biggest theater though too because it's more fun watching like Indiana Jones with a huge crowd packed there. And I've got a fedora. I used to have the Indiana Jones official fedora, but now that one got destroyed, I guess, years ago. So now I've got another fedora though I'll wear for that. But that's the same thing, I think. So, but maybe the cyclists figure they can just show up and watch. But hopefully people come watch it because we want to encourage them to show these kind of movies
and make more of them, right?
Yes. Yeah.
My most fun watching a movie was watching Indiana Jones in Cairo.
Yeah.
It was a raucous crowd. Yeah, a lot of noise going on. It was dubbed and subtitled like in French and Arabic. I think it was in English. I don't remember. It was a couple different languages going on there. And
you can understand one of them.
Yeah. So, well, Tour de France is upon us. This is episode 329 of the Warren Cycling Podcast. It is June. I need to change my calendar. I've got April up still. It's June 27th, 2023, and the tour starts on July 1st.
July 1st, and rosters have pretty much been released at this point, so we pretty much know who's going to race and who's not going to race. So Greg Van Avermaet was pretty upset about that getting out.
What has he done to deserve to race the tour?
He said that he had a bad day in the Dauphine, and he thinks that sealed him not racing. So that it was, he said he's racing strongly. He certainly would be very helpful in the flats, he said, and his experience would be great. And he thought it was just a show of disrespect that this would be his 10th tour, and all that he's done for Ajay Dajjar and everybody else too, that he'd be, for cycling. They should honor that with a ride in the tour. So
yeah, he hasn't really done much for Ajay Dajjar results wise. So maybe internally he's been a boost for the young riders, or the work he's done in other races. But results wise, unfortunately, I don't know if they've gotten their value for whatever contract whatever they're paying him after, being an Olympian champion, and he did win a monument, right?
Yeah, he won Flanders, right? Didn't he win Flanders?
No, I think that's what he's always wanted to win. I think maybe he won Paris. Well, shoot, we should know that.
Oh yeah, he won Roubaix. Didn't he?
Roubaix is what I was thinking. He only won.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, yeah. So yeah, he was hoping to make it, and then we got a negative response when he didn't make it. Maybe Sam Bennett probably wasn't too happy about not making his roster either. Arnaud Dumas probably not happy about making.
No, there no.
So I think he's leaving the team.
Did win Paris-Roubaix in 2017 along with Gent Wevelgem that year too, and he's a two-time stage winner too, and he wore the yellow jersey days too. Yeah. So but you're right though. Yeah, a lot of the sprinters who didn't get selected certainly are expressing their displeasure.
And Chris Froome was not selected. We were talking about that our last podcast about whether Chris Froome would be riding for Israel Premier Tech. I think I called it wrong. Another podcast.
Israel Premier Tech. Yeah, and you notice that Trek Segafredo changed their team now.
Lidl.
Lidl.
Lidl Trek.
For the supermarket chain that's sweeping across America now, but is it Dutch? What is it?
German. I think it's German. I'm pretty sure it's German. Yeah.
German.
It's very similar to Aldi type store.
I've not been in one yet, but it sounds similar to it.
Yeah.
Are they like like in Aldi's a much more of a robust store in Germany, right? At a supermarket, and you bought bike stuff there before, things like that.
No, they just roll out in some of the center aisles different seasonal items.
So I think we were at Aldi's together though a long time ago. And it was bigger, but maybe not so much. So
yeah, not so much. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's people. Yeah, they're. I have not been in one yet, but I do see them a lot more places. There isn't one here in Asheville, but there are some in Greenville, I think. So
they've been sponsoring the Quick Step teams for a while. So I don't know if they're stepping away from them quickly.
Well, they're definitely the co-title sponsor now of the Lidl Trek team. So, and the exciting member of that team that's going to go. We haven't seen this for years. So Quinn Simmons wins. I read you read something about it. I won a little bit read about his win in the U.S. Pro Championship.
Yeah, a little bit.
And it was won dramatically different than most years, although it has been won solo before.
It was well from a breakaway. I think Tyler Williams was the last rider with him, Legion rider Tyler Williams, and they broke
Tyler
away.
Williams took off. He went first, and then
the last time up the climb.
No, like early, halfway through the race. Tyler Williams went.
He just dropped. He just dropped Tyler Williams like at the last climb then, because there was something happened on the last climb. Okay.
Yeah, last time he dropped him on the last climb. Yeah. So he went. Tyler Williams went halfway through the race. Quinn Simmons recognized that as a move, bridged across to him. They rode half the race together off the front.
Just the two of them.
Yeah, just the two of them. And then Quinn attacked him, won by whatever it was, 40-some seconds. Williams stayed off, and then it was a sprint with McNulty and Teller Stites, right, for third. Just the two of those guys. So we haven't seen that shattered of a field. And it was wet, and they rained. And it shortened by 2 laps because they had to delay the race.
Did they know at the beginning that they was going to shorten it 2 laps?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't a surprise, like. No. The guys are out. All right. Well, you guys, we're going to shut down 2 laps earlier. So yeah. So the Peloton knew how much time they had to get.
They projected. Yeah. They were supposed to finish at a certain time, and I'm sure.
Because all the volunteers go home and.
Yeah. The police for road
police go home. The roads will get opened. This is the United States. They don't wait around for bike races.
Yeah, but anyway, he won, and now he's going to tour and racing. And when was the last time has that ever happened?
Yeah,
I don't think. Before, when it was not held the week before.
Yeah, I was gonna say for a long time it was held later in the year, so it wasn't logistically. But then they changed it to align it with all the other national well, not all the other ones, because the South American championships and Australian championships happen in our winter, their summer. Yeah. So, yeah, but for the traditional European National Championship weekend, which is this past weekend, late in June, they crowned a bunch of national champions, and we crowned ours. And wow, he's going over to the tour. They got to make up a cool jersey for him, but that's so awesome to win and then go over and ride it in the tour, wear the jersey. I mean, what's better than that?
Yeah, the thought's always been that it's too much travel between the two, that if you're a European national champion, sure, it's in the same area as the tour, so definitely you can do both those weekends back to back, but it's too much travel for the U.S. riders. But here it is.
Unless you're under 25 years old. Maybe and then you can recover. Fast. Yeah, you can respond fast. And Trek being an American company, it is a U.S.-based team that has very few. Is Quinn Simmons the only U.S. rider now on the team? I think he might be. Kill Ryan was for a lot of years, but he retired.
Yeah, it seems like.
Yeah, I think that's it now. Yeah.
I'll do a quick check here real quick.
Greg Daniels.
That's it. Yeah.
Was on for a little bit, but
I saw Greg Daniels actually. He was unlike the national champion. I saw he's still racing someplace though, doing something, gravel or para or something.
I wouldn't be surprised at gravel.
Something.
Yeah. Lots of people are doing gravel. So, wow, Quinn Simmons, big win for the U.S. National Championship. We talked about before predicting maybe who would be good for these championships. We thought Brandon McNulty, if he had a good recovery from the Giro, would be strong, and he was strong in the time trial, and he was strong in the road race too. If he got 4th, Tyler Stites, who he didn't do much in the crit, but he was saving it for the road race. I mean, he won several stages of the Tour de Beauce, right? He was 2nd overall there, I think. and he's had a couple really strong seasons in the U.S. stage races. But yeah, to make a podium, it seems like there's always one like U.S. based rider at least that gets on the podium, fighting against World Tour riders. On the women's side, though, Corinne Lebecki crushed it in the crit as Luke Lamperti tripled up. I think I don't remember talking as much this year about really focusing or to do the road race well. And I mean, he was up there in the top 10, right? But
and part of that last year might have been because I was hanging out with him before the race too, and he talked a lot about it then. So we might have talked more about it.
Maybe
okay. He said last year that his focus was on the road race, not the crit. And although he won the crit, not the road race, but yeah, he was really focused on, doing well in the road race. And yeah, like I said, he was up there. Let's see, he was 8th place. So 8th place. Yeah, and he was second in that sprint though. Quinn Simmons, or no, Sean Quinn. Sorry, Sean Quinn. Quinn Simmons won, of course, the overall. Sean Quinn won that sprint though against Luke Lamperti, and it's the same finish as the crit too. So
yeah, I don't know where he went in the crit, but Chloe Dygert, who won the road race, knew she wanted to be at the front by 3 turns from the finish, 3 quarters. She has been going long anyway in all her finishes, so.
Which makes sense. That's the kind of rider she is.
Right. So yeah, I think on a straight normal like 250 meter sprint, Corinne Lebecki would probably beat her most days, but probably on that long, Chloe knew where she wanted to go, what she had to do. I mean, Corinne was pretty close behind her. If you compare what Corinne did in the crit, she won just like Luke Lamperti by miles. It seemed, long enough where they could look back. All right, I've got plenty of time to celebrate nicely, and have a great celebration for the win. So, but it was, I think, both in the men's and the women's crit where I was there in Oxford. Actually, I talked to Luke briefly after when they were doing couldn't talk much because he was about to go on the podium, and I was more wanting to know about his world tour, like to get the scoop, but. No, I mean, he couldn't tell me what team he's going to next. He was still in the war. He wouldn't even say it was confirmed yet. So a lot of times riders would know by now, but he's pretty good at hiding it or saying deals were still in the work. But tight. He didn't say tight-lipped.
August 1st or something, I think.
Yeah, August 1st. I guess we have to wait till August 1st. I was hoping we could break it out here on the Warren Cycling Podcast.
Yeah, that'd be a scoop. Yeah, that'd be a scoop for sure.
Although I was reading an article about Matteo Jorgensen, because it's pretty clear, in our article that he's this last year at Movistar, which he's got a great role for Movistar. I mean,
Movistar has confirmed it. Yeah, so
yeah. Which I don't know. I wonder if he just probably got offered a lot of money and they couldn't match it. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, and the 2 teams that are mentioned in that article that he rumored to go to Ineos Grenadiers or Jumbo Visma, but my sources say Jumbo Visma, so
the 2 riches.
Yeah. So that, I guess that makes sense. Dollars and cents, right? So, but the 2 world team riders in the men's crit that didn't have team support were first and second. So Legion has a really strong domestic team, and they were at the front. They didn't control races like they used to, get on lots of laps to go or the whole race and just drilling it. They came later to the front, but no match for Luke Lamperti and Quinn Simmons' brother, Colby Simmons, who's riding for the Jumbo Visma development team. He was second, so pretty good weekend for the Simmons family. I guess Quinn's mom was in the feed zone. The dad got in the car for the last couple laps, so yeah, it was a good deal. Good deal all around. So, and then Corinne Lebecki, of course, is riding unsupported by teammates in the crit as well, and Legion again has super strong women's team. Skylar Schneider.
Yeah, which for the road race, right? She's been on the podium for the crit before, but never in the road race. She said usually she's gotten dropped before, she's DNF'd, she said struggled with this road race, and she rode a fantastic race to be right there. There's a group of 6 of them that were together at the end.
Right. Chloe Dygert, though, is going to ride the Giordano, it sounds like.
I think so. Yep.
Which starts before the Tour de France, so that's even a tighter turnaround.
Right.
To finish on Sunday, and then that's starting the 30th of June.
Yeah.
So Friday, one day before the Tour.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is crazy. You're right.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I'm glad they
again. She's under 25
they
though,
can do
too,
it.
right? Is she 25?
No, she's 26. So.
26. Oh,
But the women, we shift the years a little bit because they race further into their 40s than the men. That's
generally
our reasoning. So
yeah.
wow. Yeah, so U.S. National Championship, Loretta Mobley, we said won the time trial by big margin, and it was raining, it was wet, so a lot of. I asked Taylor, there are a lot of turns? He had a lot of turns, so Taylor didn't do the time trial, but he knows the course. I think one of his teammates, was it Drake Jewell, got top 10. I think I was 8th. Might take a quick look. I don't know if you can find it faster than I can, but. And then Chloe Degger, of course, won the women's time trial, as she's a world champion before. So, double winner for her.
At the defending that is when she had her big crash too. So she's struggled since that crash, and she said she'll struggle with the injury for the rest of her career. But she's obviously much better now than she has been since the crash. So hopefully she'll keep improving that. And the hope would be that next year at the Olympics, she's able to lead the women's team pursuit to a gold medal, which they've never gotten. They've been world champions before and silver medalists several times, but never gold champions. And then also be able to have, world championship in the time trial, which she's gunning for this year. She's gunning for that this year in Scotland to get the world championship in the time trial again.
Right. Sounds good there. I'm just made me think about time trials that Remco Evenepoel slipped out in his. So, Van Aert won the time trial in Belgium, but then Evenepoel won the road race. So Tadej Pogačar, didn't he win both? He did both the time trial and the road race, and his girlfriend won the women's road race.
His only two race days between his crash and the Tour, in both the road race and time trial, which he won handily. So he definitely, as much of an indication as that is,
like by 5 minutes, wasn't it? The time trial.
Yeah, I remember it was a lot though.
Yeah. So
that's the one question is how recovered is he? Because he didn't really have much of a test. He considered doing the Dauphiné. I heard a little bit of an interview with him, and he said that he considered doing the Dauphiné, but it just wasn't enough of preparation for the Tour. He really wanted to focus his preparation for the Tour, and the Dauphiné, if he was already in really good shape, would have been great to do. But as he was still honing that fitness back from the crash, he thought it was more important to do that, and he decided not to race again. So yeah, it'll be, and the first week, like we said many times, is really hard. So it's going to be a really fun week, I think, the first week.
Yeah, I think the biggest test for Tadej Pogačar might not be his legs or his fitness, but how well the wrist is really healed when he has to really torque on it and climbs. And there'll be some hard climbing, not sustained long climb. I don't know how much he stands and climbs, but
they say that the fracture is healed. So you always have some.
And he's pretty young too. I mean, the younger you are, the quicker you heal, right?
For sure, yeah.
Will he
might feel
a brace?
Like 50 or 60, but I don't know if he wear a brace or not. If they don't think it's completely healed, he might wear a brace. But if they do think it's completely healed, he shouldn't have to wear a brace. So, and he might have pins. They probably did put pins in there. So that means that he might it'll hold it together really well. I remember Christian Vande Velde saying he broke his collarbone one time before the Giro, I think, right before it, and then he raced the Giro and he crashed like a week or two after he broke his collarbone, landed right on the brake, but it was pinned, and nothing happened. And he's like, "Wow, that really works." So he thought for sure he re-broke it because he landed right on it, but no. So I think it's pretty secure if you have got it's pinned up and stuff. So
I mean, it's not the same as going for the win and going all out. Tadej Pogačar's had this time to heal, but there have been riders that have injured themselves early in the Tour, like cracked pelvis or shoulder injury, right? That have ridden the rest of the Tour and still finished.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess you can't really compare that to the same, but if he's feeling a little pain in his wrist, it's probably not a big deal. It probably wouldn't make the difference, maybe.
Yes. You'll endure a lot of pain, And so I just a little bit of that relate to that. It was Brett Buchalter in 2016. He crashed in the Tour really hard with Contador and was really beat up. But he didn't want to drop out because he had the Olympics coming up. And he was afraid if he dropped out of the Tour, someone would challenge his Olympic spot. So so he didn't drop out. He rode in terrible pain the whole time and still performed decently enough and stuff too because the motivation was so high. Any other race he would have dropped out of, didn't, because he wanted to make sure he got to go to Rio for the Olympics. And so, yeah, I think the same thing with this is like, no matter how much it hurts, unless it makes it so he can't ride close to his potential, he'd suffer through the pain no matter what. So
sure, and sometimes it might distract you from the other pain, like one pain.
Maybe,
but Brett Buchholder that year, it was a good decision for him to keep going and have that fitness because he had an excellent Rio road race, didn't he? His top US
16th, yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Very good.
It is good. Oh yeah, really good for sure. Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, yeah. Again, so in a situation like that too, he didn't have a broken bone, but I don't think I know. But yeah, if you can make it through, right, you're still gonna get fitness from whatever, and then the healing will still happen too. So if you tore a muscle or broke a bone, it might be different because you might be doing damage to something that would inhibit your ability to perform at a high level. If it's just skin and nerve damage or whatever too, it hurts a lot, but it's probably not gonna physically affect your, I mean, mentally for sure it would, and the pain would, but you can still get strong from riding otherwise.
Sure. Well, I think we're already talking about the tour now, right? Tour's starting up. There was, I mean, the national championships. I don't know. That's a big deal or indicator. I mean, definitely some riders.
So I wonder. Fred Wright won for the Brits, and is he riding? Fred Wright, right? Is he in the tour? I think this is 16 world or national champions are riding the tour, so there's quite a few.
Right, which makes sense in a way if they're targeting the tour. They're going to be their fitness should be really good, and so let's see.
Although the difference too in terms of the types of courses and stuff too. So, if it's a kind of course that suits, like Mark Cavendish winning last year, he didn't defend this year, but he won last year, and certainly was in good shape and didn't, it was unlikely he'd win at the tour, but so yeah.
All right, where's Bahrain victorious? There 19, I was looking for the
19 national champions racing.
Yeah, Fred Wright will be at the. I was looking for the red jersey. I forgot they're changing to some pearly color. It's like
several teams
just to it's to reflect on their pearl industry in Bahrain. So yeah, definitely different color. It's actually, I like it. It looks like a nice jersey. 19 national champions?
19 national champions are doing the tour, yeah.
Yeah, Dylan van Baarle, he's the national champion for the Netherlands. He's there for Jumbo-Visma.
I can't look at the list because it's on my cycling news, and my cycling news subscription, I've been trying to renew it since the end of April, and I've not been able to renew it. So I actually called Great Britain today to renew it over the phone because nothing I could do online would get me through. And so they said it was renewed.
That's so crazy. They don't have online chat? It seems like they would have a chat.
No. I tried everything. I tried contacting them multiple ways by email. I emailed them multiple times, and they're like, just go here and change it. And I kept going there, and it wasn't allowed to change it. So it was very, very hard to renew my subscription to Cycling News. They need to change that because if most people aren't as motivated as I am, and maybe most people aren't as much trouble. I tried 3 different credit cards, and they all are used, a lot otherwise, and there are no problems. Nobody else has a problem with them. And they said, well, we have a very robust security system. So I don't know. But anyway, I can't. So hopefully by July 1st, they said by July 1st I'd be getting my publication again, which I'm not sure what that meant because that's an online thing. But also too, I didn't get my Velo News or now Velo preview of the Tour de France hard copy. Which
too bad. I got 2. I could just hand it to you.
Yeah, so that's weird too. I'm not sure why I didn't get any of those, and I have a full paid subscription to that too. So these places don't want to take my money, or they at least don't want to give me the products that I paid for from my money. So not hard to say.
Well, they almost have every stat imaginable on Pro Cycling Stats, but on the start list, I wish there was a drop-down menu national champions racing of the tour, but I don't see it. So we're not going to count them out, but yeah, several riders in good shape. Any big surprise? Some guys that maybe not as familiar with, like the Norwegian national champion. Probably he's on UnoX, so I can imagine.
Versus. So, yeah, yeah. We went over the other day too. For the women's side, Longo Borghini, who's on fire, and they're saying that she's really the Giordana might be you know, certainly someone to challenge
Sure.
for the win there. Ben Healy won for Ireland.
But
That
he's
was a
not
good one for
racing
sure.
at the tour.
No, no, no. Um, yeah.
Who
So
won
who
the
else? Anybody else?
France
Bach?
Buchmann?
France was Madois. Yep,
Madwa.
Madois. Yeah, and he is on Groupama FDJ's tour team, right? So Manuel Buchmann won for Germany.
For Bora Hansgrohe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Oh, Denmark was corner. Sorry, corner. The
I thought Skilmo's won. No?
Skilmos won. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Skilmos won after his really good Dauphine.
And he's riding at the tour, so.
Yep, he's on the team too. Yeah, tour team too as well. Yeah. Yeah, he's on
And
a high right now.
He rode the Giro. Because he's the one, didn't he?
No.
No, no, he didn't ride the Giro.
He almost won the Dauphine. So. Yeah.
I was thinking of who was I thinking of? I was thinking of the guy that Brandon McNulty beat when he won the stage. Oh man, I had a birthday now. I'm getting older too. Yeah.
So. Yeah, huh? Well, Roglic won obviously, and it was G. Thomas that Geraint Thomas that was second.
It was that stage victory that Brandon had. He was battling a guy that was in the breakaway a few times. I mean, who knows where my mind's going though when I'm comparing it to like one rider reminds me of another rider. So.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just a feeling you have, and not necessarily something you can enumerate. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it right here. Oh, it was Ben Healy.
It was Ben
Healy, but that's not who I was thinking of. I thought someone else, but maybe not. Yeah, okay.
Speaking of it, it's funny because Ben Healy was third in the mountains classification in the Giro, and Derek G was second in the mountains classification, and both of them are not racing the Tour de France. But Thibaut Pinot, who won the mountains classification and had a good end of the Tour, or the Giro rather, is racing the Tour. And he said he did not win the French National Championship, but he said that if he did win the French National Championship, he might reevaluate his retirement.
Oh, really?
But he didn't win, so I guess he's not reevaluating.
Yeah, he could be like Valverde was going to retire a couple of times, and he kept extending, right? So.
Yes, yeah. He kept saying, "I'm still racing great. I should keep going." So, yeah, they are backing Gudot, who's didn't race very well.
He didn't have a good Dauphine.
No, Dauphine.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, oh yeah, right.
Something could have been off it.
Yeah, and it's funny weird because they do have Stefan Kung, who's flying. He's been racing great too and doing well in time trials, but they don't have a time trial that's good for him. There's only 22 kilometers of time trialing, I think, in the whole Tour de France this year. So it's very much not. And they said for Gaudu, this is the tour that's made for him, for his style of riding too. So maybe they figure that'll come back to help him out too.
Sure.
So
yeah, it's so unusual to not think about an opening time trial to set the stage for the tour. That it's going to start out with a road race that could break things up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll make it in a way less nervous the first week because there won't be so many teams that have that chance to take the jersey only that time in those first few days, and maybe it'll break it up enough that it'll kind of set the hierarchy and make it a little more safer tour.
Could be. Nice. Yeah, it could be. And
I don't know what the weather's going to be like. Did you look at the weather for the?
But the stage is being more just harder too. We'll break it up a little more too, so you won't have the whole pack together. Nervous towards the finish and stuff too. So, yeah, I think you're right. We'll see less. I have a question though. So Cofidis hasn't won a stage for 15 years. I think they said that was 2008 was the last time they won a stage. Will they win one this year?
Well, if they would, I keep going back to the birthday list. I'm excited already about the birthdays, but
I didn't look at it yet. Yeah, I mean they have Brian Coquard, who's actually been racing pretty well this year.
Yeah, oh yeah, he just was a podium second in something recently, I think.
So Simon Geschke, who's won a stage for other teams, right before. he's not been showing that kind of form recently, but he does have that experience. Let's see, he won the stage of the tour in 2015, so it's been a few years, but he has won a stage though, so that's important too.
Hasn't he won something recently?
Not in the tour night, he hasn't won a stage in the tour,
but overall racing.
Yeah. And then they also got Ian Izagirre, who's and Guillermo Martin. They got a couple guys who maybe could. Yeah, right. So maybe I think outside shot they might get one. I kind of want them to get a stage win just because the Coldfield is such a long-term sponsor to the cycling world. It'd be great for them to be rewarded finally with a tour win.
He just raced at the Tour de Suisse, 53rd overall, Simon Geschke. So
the other question might be too. Peter Sagan has said that he's not ruling out a run at the green jersey.
Well, Van Aert said he's not going to go for it this year.
Yeah, Van Aert was another thing. Matteo Van Der Poel or Van Aert said they weren't. I think Van Aert that said he wasn't.
Van Aert said he's not, so it could open up more for it. He says it's too hard. He's not going to. Don't want to mess with the intermediate sprints, getting all the points, being up there all the time. So
it is hard, especially also because he's also looking after somebody too. So
their team
and trying for stage wins
and get stage wins. Yeah. He's like, okay, last year he did everything. Looked out for his team
very well,
got stage wins, and got the green jersey. And he's like, got to take off one of those things. So.
Plus, the World Championships was so close afterwards too that if he wants to go to Worlds, he doesn't want to be completely.
Exactly. I think that may be one of the bigger factors, actually.
Maybe
he could wear himself out with all that, but if I want to do well in the Worlds, I kind of do it. Yeah.
Right. If he wins one stage, it's weird because he's only 33. He's not that old, and he was a 7-time, green jersey champion, and and he was 3-time world champion. So it seems like he's washed up at 33 because he's not performing anywhere near as he used to be. But he still could have a potential for sure. He said if everything goes right, he could get a stage win and then an outside chance of the green. He said he'd wait for 12 days. He was going to race through 12 days, see how it's stacking up at that point, and decide if he's going to go for the green jersey or not.
So who's in better shape right now, Peter Sagan or Greg Van Avermaet?
I think Sagan. He's been up in some sprints. Yeah.
He's been Tour de Suisse, which he's won a ton of stages there before. Tour California, Tour de Suisse, like. Two of the stage races where he's won, a bunch of stages. So I think so.
Yeah, he's also a better climber than. Although you say that, but then Van Avermaet won the Rio Olympics, so it's hard to say.
Said he wasn't going to do it because of all the climbing. He did the mountain bike
race and crashed, so didn't finish. But I'd say Sagan, and I think Sagan is just a little more chances to win than Van Avermaet doesn't have much of a chance at all to win at a stage. So. But I picked Julian Alaphilippe. Robbie Ventura asked me last week who my pick was for stage, and I said Julian Alaphilippe for my first stage one. He picked Matteo Van Der Poel, which I think is a really good pick.
Which I think is a good pick. Yeah, I think it's
But I think though,
be up there. Julian Alaphilippe because he's French, but it's not. It's in Spain, so I don't know.
It's also a stage that suits him really well, and Matteo Van Der Poel is going to probably try and win stages throughout the whole tour, and Alaphilippe, I'm guessing. His biggest chances are that first week, and then after that, maybe not as much. But who knows? But I think though, I think we might be surprised though too. I mean, I just seen Alberto Bettiol, for example, in the EF. He's a sleeper kind of guy that surprises people sometimes at a stage like the first stage, even too. But sleeper guys, I think Alaphilippe, Matteo Van Der Poel, Pidcock, maybe. There's some several guys. Certainly Wout van Aert, the first stage, too. They're Christophe Laporte even maybe they're probably much heavier favorites for that first stage, but you never. Hopefully it'll be one you never know.
Matteo Van Der Poel is gonna. I hope he wrecks havoc like he did at the Giro, where he just turns everything upside down with his crazy attacks. I hope he races like that because that'll make it really entertaining.
Yeah, it would make it entertaining, but I think he said he wasn't going to do that anymore because he wreaked havoc on himself too. So he was like for the first 9 days, he was just all over the place, and then after that,
maybe he'll pick his stages a little more, but still throughout the tour, when he does decide to wreak havoc, that it just turns the race upside down and makes it that much more entertaining. So.
He did do that in the Tour of Belgium. He tore up the last 3 stages of the Tour of Belgium, just attacking out the front all the time and stringing it out, and have his team string it out. And he definitely raced like that there.
think though, yeah, if he does what he did, like at what was it, the Turner Adriatico, where he can bring Jasper Philipsen close enough to the line, and Jasper's fast enough as he is, but the combination with Matteo Van der Poel leading out Jasper Philipsen, I think is probably the best one to lead out at the Tour this year, and so he might, I don't know, you might see him doing that duty and see if Jasper Philipsen gets some wins there.
So stage 4, maybe stage 3, he won't go quite, as crazy because he's resting left a little bit before stage 4, the first sprint finish possibility. Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's so great, isn't it? Before the Tour, everything's open. I mean,
everything's possible.
Everything's possible. EF Education being, Trek Segafredo's U.S. registered, but I see EF Education as a much more American team, although only one American riding it this year, Stuart Nielsen Paulus, which last year is so close to being in the yellow jersey.
2 seconds, right? 2 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, I blame Wout van Aert on that one too, because
yes,
and
exactly,
Alberto
right.
Betio as well for collaborating with Tadej Pogacar. So that just didn't go his way for Nielsen Paulus.
He totally admitted that too. Bert Bettiol afterwards said that I wasn't thinking. Oops. So yeah, they've got a team too. They got Bettiol. Chavez who could win a stage, especially if he loses time later on. Carapaz, maybe a chance in there. Magnus Cort, of course. Yeah, Roberto Aran. I don't know. Even James Shaw. I mean, he's had some results here and there. So I think they of course he's always getting like team. We like to see him do well, but our favorite would be right. Nielsen Paulus said he's full in for Carapaz, or Rand. He said Carapaz or Rand. So they're both co-leaders apparently on the team, according to Paulus. And but he said, but if either of them are not in the GC hunt, then he's definitely going to go for a stage win himself. So
he came last year into the Tour after finishing 4th in the Tour de Suisse, which is great for him, and then it showed in the Tour. So he didn't have as good of Tour de Suisse, but towards the last couple of stages he was up there more, but
he was in a break again.
Not like 4th overall. So he had such an amazing spring, and he had to drop off a little bit and build back up. So hopefully he's got it all down that it's a 3-week race, his timing right. So maybe even if he's not at his best the first couple of weeks, he's like biding his time for Iran and Carapaz not to be in the GC hunt, so that he'll be the strongest in that last week, and then he can really go for it.
Well, it's funny because Jorgen said the same, just exactly that for Movistar. He said that last year he worked so hard the first week that the third week he said he wished he would have maybe saved a few matches that he burned the first week. So he said that now this year he's Enric Mas's last guy standing for the high mountains, and so the high mountain stages, not those first couple of stages, the high mountain stages, he has to save himself more. And as long as Mas is in it, he'll be doing that and won't be going for stage wins. If Mas falters or loses some time, then he will. But otherwise, he said that he really has to race more conservatively than he did last year because, just like you were saying, you burn too many matches that first week. It's harder to be ready for that last week too.
Right. So if he takes more days off, or he doesn't have to go as deep, especially in that first week, maybe we'll see him do something later on as well. As we're touching on all the Americans, there are a few more. Kevin Mark got his call back, which last year he started his first tour and he crashed out, unfortunately. So hopefully he'll go deeper. Lawson Craddock is back racing the Tour.
Jacob, and he's been racing great. He's been in a ton of breakaways at the end of long, hard races. So I think he's got good fitness. He's definitely a support rider for sure, no question. But I think he's riding strongly though. Yeah. Simon Yates did not do the Giro for the first time in 6 years this year, so that maybe they're thinking his form might be coming hopefully more on for the Tour, and for him to have a top 6 or so would be great for the Tour, and to have Craddock supporting him would be great.
Right. Well, Sepp Kuss, of course, is the biggest support rider of anyone because he's supporting the defending champion, Jonas Vingegaard, and riding for.
He's got the magic touch too. So
I thought they finally touched on that. I was thinking about that after the Giro. I think Sepp Kuss has been, the only really constant, the teammate that has been with all the Jumbo's victories. And Velo went in and dove into that article and showed it all the ones that he did. Like he's I think he's done 10 Grand Tours, and 8 out of the 10 there's been a podium, and then all the 5 wins of those Grand Tours he's been on. Roglic, 3 at the Vuelta, 1 at the Giro, and Vingegaard's a Tour win. So yeah, really high success rate for team that Sepp's been on. Yeah,
and Sepp's been he got a Tour win along the way, a Tour stage win too along the way.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, he got it. It was 2 years ago, and 2 years before that was his Vuelta. So every 2 years he's getting a Grand Tour stage win. So he's due this year.
And the year he won in the Tour too, it wasn't as if his team wasn't in the fight for the GC too. It worked out on a stage that it wasn't important to the GC that he was able to still get that stage win. So it's a good. Yeah, yep. It's a good omen. And a climb near his house.
In Andorra.
Yeah. But still, it's like, it just shows that even when you're supporting the leader, or chance or a person that could win the overall, you still can have opportunities to win, even, for yourself, even as a really key support rider.
Yeah, I mean, he's been top 20, I guess, at the Tour a couple of times. I think it was up as high as 8th in one of the Vueltas when he's riding in support. So, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of depends on how much time he loses. He does tend to sit up and rest. Like, Jorgen could learn from him for sure. He does have days where he'll rest and not go so deep because he knows he's going to really be counted on and has to be there on other days.
All right. So what's good for the Americans at the race? I think maybe the one that we don't know as much or haven't seen, at least up there in breakaways yet, is Kevin Vermaak. So Quinn Simmons, he was all over it last year on the breakaways, and he should get some opportunities maybe this year. He started out really strong right at the very beginning. He didn't win a Tour at the San Juan stage, and then had some injuries and didn't have a very good spring campaign. So, but things, I guess you can't say the U.S. National Championship has that big of an indicator, but that he won.
He thought. Yeah, he said that he was kind of in low morale before this, and he said it kind of saved his career, quote unquote, because he was not sure what he was going to do at this point. But then since he won, he said his morale is sky high, and he's ready to go to the Tour and show off the jersey around France. So I think that is a big win for him for sure. Even though, like you said, the competition isn't like a World Tour race, but it is. The way he won too.
Tough. Yeah.
Oh, for sure, right? Yeah, it's no easy races. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well,
so teams that are maybe just a little bit too. I mean, so Inter Marseille Circus Wanty as Garmet is going to be his first.
Biniam Garmet, the Eritrean, right?
Yep. So he's a favorite to win a stage for sure.
He could be a green jersey candidate because he's consistently up there. Yeah. He climbs pretty well.
He does climb pretty well, and he's there a lot too. So, but that's interesting. And then. The old man who's gonna.
Alexander Kristoff's on UNOX.
Kristoff,
right? He's on UNOX now.
Yeah, UNOX. This is their first tour, so they're kind of counting on him maybe to. What was his last tour stage win? He won early on.
When he was racing for UAE, I think. Yeah, won the first stage. Yeah.
2020, first or second. It was the first It was a time trial maybe stage first, and he won the first road stage or something like that. Yeah. So he won, in 2020.
I can see him being up there, but I don't see him winning a stage.
But that's what they said in 2020 though too. I remember that too. Everybody's like, he's too old, he can't win.
Well, that's 3 years out from then.
It was the first stage one. It was stage one. Yeah. So. Yeah, he was fourth though in the Champs-Élysées stage that day or two. So I don't know. You're never know too. But of course, that's what they hope. But still, so we got a couple teams that are. Trying to crack into the Tour hierarchy there because it's tough for these teams that everybody's bringing their best for each day. So,
I mean, I think we focus maybe a little bit more on some of these guys that have been around more years, just because we've been following the sport a long time. But I think the trend has been for younger or upper cover riders. So I think that we'll have some surprises for sure, which is why it's so exciting because everything's, like we said earlier, everything's open. Every opportunity. I mean, this is what they're all really striving for. And if it's true that the Netflix series is bringing more ridership, then this is the year to really do something well because you're going to be even that more popular. So.
Oh, yeah.
But
do you see that Egan Bernal is doing it for Ineos Grenadiers? Who's not going to have much pressure on him because he's been riding solidly, but not in the form of
spectacularly.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So but maybe something there too. And then interesting that Pidcock last year won the Alpe d'Huez stage, so he
He's been
might.
out mountain biking, so we don't know how his
Yeah.
road form is, but sure. Yeah, Pidcock.
Okay.
Ineos though, so what does Ineos do?
Well, Danny Martinez is their GC guy, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, well, you were looking at the star favorites. Like I mean, okay, 2 5-star favorites, right? Vingegaard and Tadej Pogacar.
Yeah.
GCN's picking Vingegaard. But maybe
Yeah,
just because he's been racing. We don't know. Taddy's, it's a little bit unknown, although seems like he's going to be really good.
Yeah, I think that's what they're saying. Just Vingegaard's a proven commodity right now, and Pogacar is not proven in terms of today's racing. So that was their differential. But they put them both as 5-star favorites. Yeah,
I think UAE might even have a stronger team than Jumbo-Visma this year, because Jumbo lost Kruijswijk, and then they don't have Roglic racing either. So those are some pretty strong riders that won't be there for them.
Yeah. And the 4-star favorites then are Jai Hyun Lee, Ben O'Connor, who was third right in the Tour de Suisse, and Enric Mas, who was third last year in the Tour. So
it seems like it's a bigger step below between the top two.
Right. As if they're fighting. They're fighting for third place. It seems like.
Right, but anything can happen at the Tour. I mean, what was it, the year when they had the Paris-Roubaix stage and Vincenzo Nibali won, and it would have been a Tour more. Chris Froome was much better. There's 2 guys that I thought was that year. Was Contador still racing then? I think so, maybe. Anyway, it opened the door for other riders. So anything can happen, of course.
Yeah. So 3-star favorites, they have Gaudu, Simon Yates, Adam Yates, and Richard Carapaz, who so far has not lived up to his billing for EF Easy Post in terms of they thought this would be a game changer for them to have a legitimate GC. Well, I mean, Ran.
Well, Ran's been up there and got podium for them, but
right, surely. But it was a Grand Tour winner, on the team, and he hasn't really done much yet in terms of that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But then they have Bernal, Martinez, Rodriguez, Skilmos, who just racing really well, Bardet and Menges for 2-star. And then finally, Ciccone, who's been racing well. He got his first Giro stage win. Thibaut Pinot, Lutsenko, Guillaume Martin, and then Landa. So
all of those could be possible polka dot jersey winners.
Yeah.
If they focus on it. Could be.
Ciccone's definitely focused on that. For Thibaut just won it. Yeah, Lutsenko's won. So all those guys, you're exactly right. Yep. Yeah. So the guys who don't have, and I'd say like Trek Segafredo, right? Exactly. They don't have, or Lidl Trek, sorry, does not have a GC contender. So that opens up the door for them to certainly have someone hunting out for the polka dot jersey and stuff too. Yeah. And same thing with Lutsenko. So yeah, exactly. Those guys. And then, that's true when you talk about
won his national championship. They mentioned it. Yeah.
And we did not talk about the chance of getting 35 Tour de France
for Mark Cavendish for Astana.
Yeah. So that's that'll be a storyline for sure. Every time we come to a possible sprint stage, a big storyline for sure. And then Mark
Renshaw. They hired Mark Renshaw to help. I thought, is he going to ride?
No, but they keep insinuating he's a part of the team. They say he's on the team.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, wait a minute, he can't. He's not in shape.
Help you retired. Yeah. So, well, that's another thing too. Morkov is going to be in the race again for Christoph for Quick Step's team. So
probably Jakobsen.
Yeah, so that's going to be a big asset for him too, because he's guided many a sprint winner in the Tour to victory.
Yeah. Jakobsen, Philipsen, Groenewegen, Caleb Ewan.
Yeah.
Those are all going to be the fast men. Benoît Gourmet right up there, faster, strong man. I mean, he's fast, but he's got a little more deeper skill set maybe on the more lumpier stage.
Yeah.
Then, of course, but he's got to beat the likes of Wout van Aert or Matteo van der Poel also. Strong,
or even Simon Clark, who last year surprised us, right? With how old Simon now? He's getting old, but he's yes. Guys like
I
that.
think that was a one-hit wonder for last year.
Well, the end of his career one. He's had other
Yeah.
other hits. So, yeah, or like I said, like a Bettiol maybe number two. So actually, he's more of a one. Yeah, but you never know. So I mean, there's always guys who.
Well, that's why we're talking about all the possibilities before the tour, because who knows what could happen. But yeah.
Oliver Nason, right? I mean, he won Mont San Remo, so that's how many years ago was that now? It's been a while. So, yeah. So it's like yeah. No, who am I thinking of? It wasn't Oliver Nason. Who was it?
I don't know. DeMar won, but he didn't make the team.
No.
I'm thinking of else.
He was on anyway. So no, he was Mont San second in Mont San Remo. He was second.
Second, okay. Yeah, you're gonna win. Yeah.
2019. Okay. I'm like, I think it was him. Yeah. So no second. So yeah. So you never know. A guy like that maybe could do. Yeah. Well, I was wrong. The Michael Woods only won one stage of the La Route Aquitaine, but did win the overall too.
Yeah. So yeah. Bless you. Yeah. Every team's got somebody maybe that has a chance to win a stage. You would hope. I mean, everyone's.
Yes.
That's what they're for. I mean, if you don't have a Tadej Pogacar or Jonas Vingegaard or any of the ones that are reaching for the podium. I mean, top 10's pretty good, but really a stage win's better than 4 through 10. I think, don't you think?
Makes your career sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Although I think overall points used to be that the points 4th through 10th were higher than winning a stage, so it was actually you rewarded UCI points better. But they changed that some now, so I think the stage gets a little bit more points now.
Yeah. Well, I think I've been motivated enough now, looking at all the rosters, who's going to do well, who might sneak in and do well, to go out and do a fantasy team. I wasn't considering it yet, and we've had a Warren Cycling podcast group before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll set it up.
You set it up. You set it up. I'll do it.
Okay, and see who we can get in to be in the competing against other Warren Cycling podcast listeners with you and me, who we'd hope we do well, but not necessarily, right? Sometimes I go with my heart more than I should, because I'm a sentimental for some riders. Yeah.
Hopefully, people that listen to the podcast here, we've piqued their curiosity as well too, in terms of like, because a lot of times you'll win or lose. I mean, you have to have one of the the top guys. If you don't pick Pogacar or Vingegaard, you're probably gonna not win the fantasy league. But picking Matteo Trentin to win a stage and he gets it all of a sudden, then that makes a difference, because he's a relatively low value rider and he gets a stage, gets you a lot of points, or finishing consistently in the sprints too. Like, you don't have to even necessarily win a stage, but if you're finishing top 5, in all 8 of the 8 sprint stages, then that's going to get you a lot of points too for those fantasy leagues.
All right. Yeah, so we're looking forward to that, of course. We're close into the hour mark, but we're getting close to 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 27th, which means our birthday list will switch over, and I want to get it in from today, which is the 27th of June. So let's do our birthdays and wrap this up, and man, I'm just getting more excited now for the tour. We didn't really look at all the stages so much past the very beginning, but that's okay. We'll
you can do that. Yeah, well, I would say we do it next week, but you'll be on vacation, so maybe.
Well, yeah, unless we talk on Sunday, maybe. But all right. Happy birthday! Number 1 on the list though is Marcus Zberg, Swiss guy. He had a brother and a sister that looked like racing, but a rider who's racing in the Tour, Luka Metzger.
Oh.
Yeah, it's his birthday, 35th birthday today, and he's there. But Paul Wellens is next on the list. He's 71, and he's Tim Wellens' uncle. So
excellent. There's a lot of cycling. Genetics run deep in cycling. So
yeah, sure. Well, and genetics ran deep in this family too.
Number
Lord. 4 on the list, Taylor Phinney, which I was thinking about. I didn't say out loud, but Tadej Pogacar and his girlfriend, who both won their national championships, if they get married and have children.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Could be pretty
Taylor
good genetics go there. But Taylor Phinney, he's number 4 on the list. They're just 33, so he's younger than a lot of active riders. But unfortunately,
Peter Sagan's age.
That horrific crash in the U.S. Nationals road race, when a motorcycle didn't get out of his way and he crashed into the guardrail and broke his leg, and never fully recovered out of that. And he was could have been a Paris-Roubaix winner. He was that good.
He won it twice in the U23s. Yeah.
And he still came back and finished top 10, didn't he? After
they won.
Yeah. But
like Connie Carpenter. first Olympic champion road race winner ever for women, and then Davis Finney, who was a 3-time Tour de France.
I think 2-time. Yeah.
Yeah, 2. So and Davis too. I mean, he was a sprinter, and he changed himself. He morphed his body into a ability to finish, a 180K road race with a sprint at the end too. So yeah, Taylor definitely was there too. Yeah, and his girlfriend is Nia Doma, right? Too.
Yeah, Cassie Nia Doma. I guess they're still together.
If they have kids, they'd be pretty predisposed. So.
All right. Well, yeah. Happy birthday to Taylor. Yeah, he won the prologue of the Giro. Wore the pink jersey. So it's a big deal.
He was a supremely talented rider who, didn't get a chance to live up to that. I mean, so
right.
He seemed like he liked
it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
big guy.
Lot, sure. He was fourth in the London Olympics in both the road race and the time trial.
Right.
Just off the podium, one spot twice in the same Olympics. That'd be hard to take. So.
Yeah, and he hesitated on that road race. He was right there, and but that can happen in a lot of races. But he could have been up there with Rigoberto Urán dealing with how much money to get from Vinokurov to let him win. Kent Bostic.
Kent Bostic.
70 years old. How can he be 70?
Yeah, he lives in Tennessee. We race together fairly frequently. I have his cell phone number. I can give him a call and say, Kent, happy birthday. I will.
He just moved up an age group this year, so he can race 70 plus now.
He's still an animal. He has had cancer, lymphoma, so he's undergoing treatments. I did not talk to him. Usually I see him at the Carter County Omnium, and I wasn't there this year because I was doing Unbound. So yeah, last week I did Michigan's Coast to Coast. We didn't mention that, but that's okay because it didn't go that well. It was okay. I was third. Yeah, come on. But anyway, so Kent though is a super strong rider, even with cancer. But he's when he's out in remission, he's able to. Yeah, he's a good guy too. I like Kent a lot. He's a fun guy to race with. So.
All right, Richard Rainville's 27 today. Another American on the list. Evan Boyle, 19. Crystal Boney.
19.
Yeah. David Seck is 60. David Seck, so he's close to our age.
Christian Deschamps.
All right, can't
Richard Skybird. He's our age, 58. Richard Skybird.
All right, happy birthday those celebrating today. It's the Warren Cycling Podcast. We're going to just wrap this up, and hope you enjoy putting together your team and competing against at the upcoming Tour de France.
Do it, yeah. Sign up for the fantasy league. It's always a little more fun.
Put it on the Facebook page, Warren Cycling Podcast Facebook. I'll probably tweet it if you still look at Twitter, and maybe on the website too. If I get around to it.
Yeah, it adds a different dynamic for sure. Like I'm normally pretty engulfed in watching the tour anyway, but when you have the fantasy league, you always have a little bit different bent to your watching because you're rooting for your guys to also have good stages for sure.
Exactly. All right. Thanks, Randy. Good to talk to you. Wow, just this. I didn't start out as excited about the tour as I finished. Now.
Oh man, for sure. Yeah, I'm super excited. I listened to 2 podcasts on the drive from Michigan to Asheville yesterday, and a lot about the tour. And then I watched the first episode of Unchained, and then I was reading some today. And I did not go for a ride after I went to the dentist. Instead, I read about tour prep stuff too beforehand. So I've been building it up for the last couple of days. So I think I'm gonna try and watch at least one episode of Unchained the next couple of days, and I'm gonna go see The Last Rider tomorrow too. So. Yeah, you're right. It'll be I'll be at a fever pitch by the time we get to Saturday. So I'm really, and the stage might be even over by the time I go for my ride because I'm going to go after Matthews Taekwondo on Saturday. So maybe I'll bring the computer to watch during Taekwondo.
All right, excellent. All right, thanks, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thanks, Dean.
Bye.
Bye.